One of the students I used to tutor owned his own food truck, and when he would make barbecue sauce, he'd actually mix ketchup and Coke as the base ingredients. So let's say we look up this recipe, and it calls for every 2 cups of ketchup, use half a cup of Coke. And we want to scale it up though. We're throwing a little fiesta, so we want to use all the ketchup we have. We have 9 cups. Therefore, how much Coke should we add to maintain the same balance, the same ratio here? This is where we're going to use a proportion. So you'll draw 2 lines with an equal sign in the middle. From there, you'll always stack values on the left side, and you'll know those because those are the givens or the recipe itself. So we'll stack 2 cups of ketchup over half a cup of Coke. This also keeps us organized though, because if ketchup is up top on the left, it's also going to be up top on the right, so that's where we'll put that 9 cups of ketchup right there. And obviously we're looking for that missing value, how much Coke underneath it. So we're all set. From here, you'll always multiply the numbers diagonally, and then divide by what's left over. So it'll be 9 times 0.5 divided by 2. Feel free to use a calculator for any of these guys. But that'll give us 2.25 cups of Coke. That is the missing amount that we could combine with our ketchup, create this super zesty, tangy barbecue sauce here. So that's it. Now, as one final step, you could convert that 0.25, same thing as a quarter or 1/4. So 2 1/4 cups of Coke. Now there is another way to solve these, but this is the method that I would recommend. But if we back up 2 steps here, you could go straight across. So you could say 2 times what will give us 9. We could multiply 2 times 4.5 to get 9. Therefore, we could multiply by that same amount in the bottom. 0.5 times 4.5, that's actually another way to get 2.25. So you could do that. However, it's often hard to see what that value should be there. So that's where the diagonal method will work every time. Okay, let's look at some other examples. You've been watching a lot of Great British Bake Off, so you're inspired by Prue, Mr. Paul Hollywood. It's underbaked. And you find you find a recipe that calls for a 2:3 ratio of water to flour. We're making these delicious jammy biscuits over here. Now you have 68 grams of flour. So how much water do you need to maintain that ratio? Well, it's a recipe, so we'll go ahead and add in our proportion lines. And that 2 represents water, the 3, the flour. So those are the givens, or the recipe. We'll stack those on the left side. Therefore, where does that 68 grams of flour go? If you were thinking bottom right, that's it. Flour on the bottom, looking for that missing amount of water, and we're all set. Once again, we'll multiply diagonally, divide by what's left over, and we'll get 68 times 2 divided by 3. That'll give us 45.3 repeating. Same thing as 45 1/3 grams of water. So that's how much water will combine with the flour to create this nice consistency. As you can see, knowledge of decimals helps because 0.3 repeating is the same thing as 1/3. So when we're measuring out the ingredients, that's where knowing the fraction can really help you know what cup size to use and all that jazz. No soggy bottoms allowed. Okay, one last example. We've been inspired by Top Gun, so we've got fighter jets on the mind. And we want to create a scale model of this one. We look up the specs, and we find that this length here is 15 feet, so we draw that out. This length here is 10 feet, we label that there. But we want to scale it down so that 10 feet becomes 4 inches. Therefore, what is that 15 feet going to become right there? Well, when you're scaling things down, It's just like we did with the recipe, but the recipe we scaled it up. So we'll use a proportion here. Now, for our picture, we could call this 15 feet the top of the triangle, the 10 feet the bottom. So let's label that as our givens on the left side. From there, where does that 4 inches go on the other side? If you were thinking bottom, bingo, because that's the bottom, just like the 10 feet is, so that's why that's there. And we're looking for the top, so that's that. Once again, we'll multiply diagonally, divide by what's left over. 4 times 15 divided by 10, and that gets us a nice even 6 inches. So that is the top of that triangle, or that wing right there. And we're all set. So as you can see, we could use proportions when we're making models to scale things down, or for recipes to scale things up. But a final thing I wanted to show is the Great British Bake Off has its own website with all the recipes. So you could look up Raoul's Spiced Firework Biscuits, amazing. You could look up Helena's Wicked Witch Fingers, or just a classic, Paul Hollywood Fig Rolls. I'll leave a link in the description. Good luck with your baking, your model making, all the things. We'll see you in the next video. Toodles.